All right, y'all, gather round for story time. And this story is actually relevant to this week's topic, Unpacking Talkin White. And if you're not caught up on the series, essentially it challenges a lot of preconceived notions of what it really means to talk white. It's really about the correlations that we make with certain vocal features that we associate with race for social reasons. Because, of course, language is not genetic. Race is not genetic either, but we'll talk about that later. It's the reason if I'd have sat right here and talked like this right here, then most of you would probably say, God dang, that boy, that sounds like a white man. Even in absence of all of the grammar and the vocab and things that we typically associate with talking white, that would be the misconception. Which brings us to the story. So I was in a tight situation in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I needed to rent a car. But in that area, a lot of the rental places had a reputation for discriminating against black renters. So I had developed this thing where I would use my white voice when I would call in to see if they had any cars available. Now, this usually worked. In fact, it worked every time. This particular time, it worked all too well. The person who answered the phone not only went on to believe that I was white, but believed that I was so white that they had expressed sympathy for the local KKK, whose march had been busted up, I suppose, by some counter-protesters, and say some of the wildest things about local black people. So I started recording the call just so it wouldn't be their word against mine, because who's going to believe somebody would say something like that on a call based purely on the voice of the caller? But my white voice was impeccable. And it wasn't until the very end of the conversation, when I was set to come in and get the car, that she actually checked to verify if I indeed was a white guy. By then it was too late. Well, of course, I played it off and told her that I was Chinese. I did want to tip her off that I was indeed black and going to sue. Crazily, when she found out that I was Chinese, she was relieved. She didn't actually rescind any of the racist things that she had said, as long as I wasn't black. Now, in this call, I hadn't used any big words or any fancy diction or eloquent, articulate way of speaking. I was just using casual conversation. But in this voice here, with a higher register and a little bit tighter enunciation and a little bit of tone that I knew would lull her into thinking that I was a white guy. You want to hear how well it worked? Oh, yeah. Don't think I would tell you this story without bringing the audio. Check this out. It's a doozy.
Yeah, I don't know Knoxville that well, but I can tell you what's good and bad, because I went to a lot of blacks, and I'm friends with a lot of them too. And then, of course, the whites, but I see the moneymakers. Boy, if you can get into Y12, that'd be the best job in the whole world.